Do you think anime characters have specific workout routines they use to get those crazy bodies of theirs? Like, could there be a men's fitness magazine with Goku on the cover detailing his workout in the hyperbolic time chamber? Who wouldn't want the 7 secrets you need to get a Super Saiyan bod? Doctors hate number 4. Most anime characters are known for having some serious muscle mass. From big-time anime like Dragon Ball and Naruto to smaller ones like the 7 Deadly Sins, most feature incredibly fit heroes. While some were born with special abilities, the most impressive ones earned theirs through hard work and determination. Here are 10 anime characters who got seriously ripped. Goku. We all know who has the most famously ripped body in all of anime. That's right, the original Super Saiyan himself, Goku. His pecs alone in his fight against Frieza were larger than most human arms. He didn't start that way though. Back in the original Dragon Ball, he was a shrimpy little guy. Most of that has to do with the fact that he was a child. Still, the series ended up with him as a young adult and he was pretty lean. His transformation into the 80s Sylvester Stallone of anime didn't occur until the spin-off Dragon Ball Z. When he first fights his brother Raditz, he noticeably has been hitting the gym much harder. The man's become so strong that his body is the one that all other anime characters get judged against. All Might. We hear a lot about how amazing All Might from My Hero Academia is in the first episode of the series. He's more or less the Superman of the MHA world. All children and heroes strive to be just like him. When we first get a glimpse of the man himself, he doesn't disappoint. He is a bold and honorable man of action who has a body that would make Chris Hemsworth look like Michael Cera. There's a big twist with All Might though. After battle with his arch enemy All For One, he's only able to use his power for a short time. His true form is revealed and it's quite surprising. He's actually a very sickly man with angular, sharp features. Every time he uses his powers, it takes more out of him. And eventually he sacrifices all of his remaining powers to battle All For One last time. Rock Lee. There are episodes of certain anime that are just legendary. Everybody remembers the first time Goku went Super Saiyan or the Nina Tucker scene in Full Metal Alchemist. For Naruto fans, that first big moment was the fight between Rock Lee and Gaara. When their fight began, everyone's mind was blown. See, Rock Lee can only use physical taijutsu. This is pretty worthless against someone like Gaara, who has automatic sand defenses that make him untouchable. So Rock Lee has to fight harder and harder just to be able to fight Gaara at all. Every moveset he tries fails to really damage Gaara, but luckily he's holding back a trump card. He reveals that he has mastered Guy Lee's legendary 8 Gates technique. This turns his face red, drastically increases his muscle mass, and makes his hair stand up to let us know that this form is serious. Is it really a true anime power-up if the wind doesn't automatically start blowing up their hair? This is when he starts batting Gaara around the arena like he's a ping pong ball. Sure, ultimately Gaara wins the fight, but like Rocky Balboa before him, he goes the distance. Rock Lee is one of the best character redemption stories in all of anime. He went from that stringy, annoying guy to a powerful fan favorite. Too bad he was pretty much wasted from then on by the franchise. VALMET. Shows like Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, and Digimon brought an entire generation of kids into the fandom. Then there are anime like Jormungand, which are about as far from kid-friendly as possible. It's a story about arms dealers, child soldiers, and war profiteering. Basically like a grim, gritty version of the first 10 minutes of Iron Man. The main character, Coco's best subordinate, is her best friend VALMET. If you just look at a normal picture of her, you might not think she's all that threatening. She often wears baggy clothes and has a Tokyo Ghoul-style eye patch that one would think might affect her fighting skills. Once you watch the anime though, you find out that she's about as formidable as it gets. As a third-generation officer of the Finnish army, she has what you might call a rigorous sense of determination. There are a few scenes that showcase her workouts or her incredibly muscular body. She also has shown intense combat skill, especially with a knife. In a world of arms, smuggling, and constant warfare, VALMET manages to be the baddest of the bad, with only one eye. You're definitely not going to get that kind of training doing CrossFit. Master Roshi. When we first meet Master Roshi in Dragon Ball, he doesn't seem like a character who has a lot of surprises in him. He's a classic dirty old man mentor character. He changed the game when he appeared in a fighting tournament in disguise as the mysterious Jackie Chun. His disguise consisted of a bad wig and no sunglasses. When things get real, Roshi throws off his shirt and reveals his true power. his muscle mass increases threefold. This is definitely the body goal that adult Goku was going for. If that wasn't impressive enough, he goes on to completely obliterate the moon with an extremely powerful Kamehameha wave. That just goes to show you that you should never underestimate elderly people. There's little doubt that Betty White's final form would make The Rock ashamed of himself. MATRONA. If you love things like The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance or The Lord of the Rings, then you would probably love The Seven Deadly Sins. It's an epic fantasy anime about a group of warriors based around the titular sins. The show has some great world building and terrific action. It also has a character named Matrona, who is what Ronda Rousey would look like if she got irradiated by gamma rays. She's a giantess with huge arms and some serious abs. You might be thinking that she's only that strong because she's a giant. Sure, that definitely has a lot to do with it. Even by giant standards, though, Matrona is a fierce warrior. She has no fear of jumping into battle or sacrificing herself for a friend. Other giants look up to her as a mentor. It's cool enough being a giant, but being a giant among giants is about as impressive as it gets. Michelle K. Davis. Shows like Star Trek and The Expanse frequently show the trials and tribulations of trying to terraform an alien planet. What they don't show is the possibility that you might accidentally infest a planet with giant roach monsters. That is what the plot of the anime Terraformers revolves around. These bugs then flip the script and take over Earth instead. Michelle K. Davis is one of the characters who fights against the Terraformers. Her father was a subject of the Bugs experiment, so she inherited some cool powers. She basically has cool ant powers that let her make the Terraformers explode along with strength and agility enhancements. Those powers alone aren't responsible for her being a formidable warrior. She also has been seen training and helping others train intensely. Her body is designed to be over-dramatically ripped. She's got herself some rockin' abs, muscled-up thighs, and incredible arms. Basically, she's a roach's worst nightmare. MIKASA ACKERMAN. The competition for the coolest character in Attack on Titan is pretty competitive. There are a lot of awesome warriors on the show, but one is definitely cooler than the rest. That's of course the one and only MIKASA ACKERMAN. She is by far the fiercest warrior on the show, despite the fact that she can't turn into a giant Titan. In fact, MIKASA frequently has to come save Eren, even when he's in Titan form. Thanks to her flashback though, we know she wasn't always the quiet Spider-Man samurai that she's known as. She actually had a pretty tragic life even by Attack on Titan standards. She's an orphan due to the work of evil human traffickers. The only reason she's alive is because Eren, who was super intense even as a child, came to her rescue. So she trained every day from then on so she could protect him like he did her. We've seen a few shots of Mikasa's workout routine, and it's pretty impressive. She's got that 300 Spartan 8-pack body going on. In a world of giant man-eating monsters, she's the scariest thing on two legs. You've got to admit, that's quite a feat. Luffy. Luffy from One Piece isn't known for being the most muscular anime hero. In fact, his rubbery physique is the most notable thing about him. The straw-headed pirate can turn it up a few notches when he has to, though. See, Luffy ate a rare piece of devil's fruit when he was a kid. This has exposed him to some unique powers. While most of these powers are of the Mr. Fantastic Stretch Armstrong variety, sometimes they can be a bit more intense. We first see him strengthen his body when he activates his Gear Second. He does this by increasing the size of his blood vessels, which pumps in more nutrients and oxygen. Things get even more crazy when he activates Gear Third. Luffy learns to inflate parts of his body to huge sizes. Afterwards, though, he shrinks to the size of a child. Gear Fourth is when he really bulks up. He learns during his 2-year training how to inflate his entire body. He has other forms and abilities, but this is by far his most impressive muscle mass. The big question is, does eating devil's fruit count as a mystical form of steroid juicing? Saitama. The most famously overpowered anime character of the last decade is One Punch Man Saitama. If you aren't a fan of the anime, it might be forgivable for you to assume that Saitama is naturally gifted like Superman. That couldn't be farther from the truth though. In fact, Saitama used to be a pretty ordinary dude. He grew up as a big superhero fan but never thought that he could become one himself. One day he saved a child from a monstrous crab mutant. After that day, he was hooked on superheroing. He went on to become so powerful that he was able to take out any adversary with just one punch. Word spread that Saitama was an amazing superhero talent, so many asked for his big secret. Once he disclosed it though, it seemed preposterously simple. He does 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and a 10-kilometer run a day. If you don't work out, that might not seem so crazy a workout to get you superpowers. Still, it's hard to argue with Saitama's results. He's possibly the strongest man in all of anime, so maybe there's more to his training than he's letting on. So there are 10 anime characters who got super ripped, from Goku to Saitama. Out of all of them, which ones are your favorites? Were there any good ones we missed? Feel free to share with us in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.